said I was evil, what did you think that meant? It didn't mean that I was naughty, or haughty, or slightly irreverent. When I said I was evil, what did you think that implied? That I'm careless with the truth? How uncouth. Dear God, did you think I'd lie? When someone says they're evil, it's best to believe. Like the skull on a poison vial, you see. A symbol so primeval, it's not there to deceive. It's there to let you know it's deadly, just like me. When you're truly evil, it's so much fun. It's kind of like a game where some get maimed while you look out for number one. When you're truly evil, you don't care what people think. They might as well be drenched in stench, cause all opinions stink. A hyena tears the flesh off another living being. She does not repent, nor lament. It's the way she's meant to be. And the lioness defends with the deadliest of means. She might do it for the thrill of the kill, or whatever fulfills her needs. Nowadays, everyone's a villain, so it seems. And they strut around the town wearing black, ba 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 ba. And they're called misunderstood, when in fact they're merely good. It's villain credentials that they lack. And unlike me, they've got no scars upon their backs. You see, I was born in the full moon's light, when I emerged and made the angels cry. With a heart that's black as stone, and when I was fully grown, well, I was betrothed to the night. And in time, I'll make that girl in black my bride. That's why you can trust in me, just in me, cause I've got friends on the other side. You poor unfortunate souls, your diamond's in the rough. And now, with your permission, I'm going to do my stuff. No one will deny, and what I do, I am the best. When this hellfire, this dark fire I spill as a specimen, why, it's intimidating, yes. If this don't scare you, no evil thing will. So let's sound the drums of war, it's like music in the air. It's time to follow me, so be prepared. Oh, c'est la vie, mon ami. Black sorcery is my dish of tea. You've got to let it go. My power flurries through the air. The skeletons in their graves, the creatures of the night will know my name. Oh, the tributes and the praise, the obeisance of pay. At last I will have the fame I crave, and as the king of villains I will reign. Now that you know that I'm evil, what will you do? Well, if you're also evil, you little weevil, you'll do what is right for you. Now that you know that I'm evil, would you turn me in? Don't you know snitches get stitches? Cause snitching is a sin. The night is full of villains, and the villains need a king. But to get ahead, you need an edge. And I've got just the thing, with an army of shadows, and the night as my bride. As the king of villains, I will rise. As the king of villains, I will rise. The king of villains will rise. Tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, that song is called The King of Villains. It was originally called When I Said I Was Evil. And it was intended to be kind of like a spiritual sequel to my song When You're Evil. Don't know if you know that song. But as it happens, I have not seen you guys in probably 3 or 4 years. Can't say why. But during those 3 or 4 years, I've been working on my 13th studio album. It is an album called The Black Labyrinth, and it is an unofficial sequel to the film Labyrinth. It's a double album. It's got 23 songs, and when it came time to write like the villain song, I thought, well, holy shit. I'm kind of known for villain songs. So this has to be like the ultimate villain song, right? So I did everything that I could to make this the ultimate villain song. Now, if you go to YouTube and you search Voltaire and Disney, it's a true story, you will find not tens, not scores, not dozens, but literally hundreds of fan-animated videos where people have taken my song When You're Evil and they've cut it to footage of Disney villains. It appears the entire world, except Disney, has come to the conclusion that I should be writing songs, villain songs, for Disney. So as an aside, while working on The Black Labyrinth and writing the villain song for this musical, I thought to myself, well shit, how can I get the attention of Disney? And then it hit me. Plagiarism. That greedy little rat cannot fucking help himself. If there's copyright infringement anywhere in the world, suddenly Mickey's like, uh-oh. And so I don't know if you noticed, but every single Disney villain who's ever sung a song or been sung about in a song is quoted in The King of Villains. Now, a lot of artists come out and they play like a ton of material from their next album. I'm not gonna do that. I don't believe in that practice. I figure you've probably come out tonight because there's a bunch of songs of mine that you know, and those are the songs I want to play for you. So I'm only gonna say one more thing about Black Labyrinth before I move on. And that is that in the last 3 years, while we have been apart, ever so sadly, I have been recording this 2-album musical homage to David Bowie via the prism of the Goblin King, right? So it's like an unofficial sequel to Labyrinth after the death of the Goblin King. And as such, most of the musicians on this album are from David Bowie's band. So David Bowie's drummer plays all the drums. David Bowie's bass player is the bass player on the album. The guitarist from Station to Station plays on the album. There is an original Spider from Mars on this album, Mike Carson, who played keyboards, piano I should say. Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars is on this album. It is completely insane. Before you leave, please grab a postcard so you know a little bit more about the Black Labyrinth. And now, without further ado, we get drunk. And talk a little bit more about the Black Labyrinth. So now, I started this project. I am no stranger to villain songs. Those of you out there who are familiar with my music know that I have not yet written a song for Disney, but I certainly have written songs for the Cartoon Network. I'm going to play one of those for you right now. This is a song I wrote for, this is undoubtedly, definitely a villain song that I wrote for a Cartoon Network show called The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Minotaur's my butler, Cyclops my valet, the Centaur drives my chariot that takes me down the way, or a river made of fire, through a street that's paved in bones. I got a dozen zombie skeletons to walk me to my throne. In the land of the dead, can't go any grand. I'm the overlord of the underworld, 'cause I hold horror's hand. In the land of the dead, darkside royalty, I'm far renowned in the underground, and you can't take that from me. Cerberus, my lapdog, is loyal as can be. My bed is made of skulls, I'm in the lap of luxury. I got a dragon's blood jacuzzi, the Gorgons think it's cool, and a seven-headed Hydra living in my swimming pool. In the land of the dead, and boy, ain't it grand. I'm the overlord of the underworld, cause I hold Mara's hand. In the land of the dead, I'm dark side royalty. I'm far renowned in the underground, and you can't take that away from me. No, you can't take that from me. I remember when I was writing that song, my son walked into the room. He had to have been like, I don't know, 6 at the time. But at the age of 6, he was already like an 80-year-old man. It may have something to do with growing up in New York City. He was just so cynical. He's always been so cynical. And he walked up to me and he was like, "Oh, you're writing a song, Papa?" I was like, "Yeah, I am." He's like, "No, it's pretty good." I was like, "Thanks." He's like, "I just have one question." I'm like, "Here we go." "Okay, what's the question, Mars?" And he said, "Well, in the song, you say that you're like very powerful and very rich, right?" And I said, "That is the idea. Yes, it is practically a rap song, yes. I am bragging about how famous I am in the underworld, yes. Because this is what I do with my adult life. Is pretend I know centaurs." And he looked at me, he's like, "Well, I'm just curious about one thing. Like, if you're really rich and famous and you're in the lap of luxury, like you say your bed is made of skulls, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, that sounds cool, right? And he's like, "Well, I'm just hear me out. I'm just wondering, like, if you were actually super rich and living in the lap of luxury, wouldn't your bed be, I don't know, comfortable?" "Go to your room!" Just my go-to with him. Whenever he's right, you know, it's just, "Go to your room!" Because, shit. God, it really sucks when you think you've written really fucking cool lyrics and the 6-year-old is explaining to you how dumb they actually are. But that is the story of my life. He's now 23. He's so much more cynical now. I thought he'd grow out of it, but now he's just a black hole of despair. I don't know where it came from. I really have no idea. Well, in any case, Land of the Dead was by no stretch of the imagination the first villain song that I wrote for Cartoon Network. There's another one that I wrote about my favorite body part, and it's called... It was not my first choice, I'm not gonna lie. Cartoon Network came to me, they were like, "We want you to write a song about your favorite body part." And I was like, "Prostates!" They didn't like that idea, they thought it was shitty. So back to the drawing board. But nonetheless, I wrote a song about my second favorite body part, and it goes something like this. Shy, step right up, I'm a reasonable guy. Don't be frightened by the look in my eye. I'm just your average evil meteor from out of the sky. Well, I'm just shy and scared in this place. A fish out of water from outer space. You can see that the trip has left me tied and drained. So why don't you be a pal and bring me some brains? Slightly more interesting. Let's make it about prostates. When I say brains, you say brains. All in favor say aye. Aye. All in favor say brains. Aye. Go down to your neighbor's place, see the dog is fresh and on his space. You'd be doing him a favor if you brought him to me. He ain't using his brain, he's just watching TV. Go down to Mr. McGee's. He hasn't had a thought since 43. His brain is the force for little atrophy. He ain't using it, wanna give it to me. Brains, I won't lie. I'll eat the brains till the sun will fly. Shoot, they might think it's deranged, but they won't give it a thought to reveal. Put that drink anywhere.
I think so.
Brains, it's okay. It's not a matter if it isn't gray. And if at first they think it's strange, they won't think twice if you don't have a brain. So now I'm, like everybody else in this room, mildly addicted to social media. So there's two photographers up here, and all I can think about is that guy's pictures are going to be really good because that's my good angle. This guy's pictures are going to super suck. I like never ever sharing the pictures from that angle because I look terrible from that angle. And also the guitar hides a lot, right? Like I'm holding a giant hunk of wood in front of my middle-aged midsection. I look super fucking hot from over here. From over here it's like wah, wah. Wah, wah. And then, of course, everybody looks best from the MySpace angle, which is like right here, which is why that's how you take all your pictures, right? This is me earlier in a restaurant in Glasgow. See, now you got it. So earlier, I couldn't help to notice that you were like down on your knees before me. Okay, that doesn't sound that bad. Okay. You're down on your knees before me taking pictures. I was like, no one looks good from below. It's my bad side. My thighs are gonna look fucking huge. This is what I'm thinking about when I'm trying to sing a song. This is terrible. This is what social media has done to us all. Brains. I love them. You guys are good. Brains. I love them. I need them. My tongue jumps with joy when I eat them. Big ones, fat ones, short ones, tall ones. So delectable, especially the small ones. No time to cook them in a skillet. My belly's rumbling, I gotta need to fill it. I won't fry them, I will only drink them. I just grab myself a straw and I drink a whoa. Sweat to go around, bring me every single brain in town. But with all these brains, I can't help but think that there isn't one left out there in the train. Now fess up, boy, come on, heck. Here's to someone that you're trying to protect. Bring her down here to meet her, and then I promise I'll be your bestest friend. Brains, brains, I won't lie. I'll eat her brain till she's on the fly. Sure, she might think it's deranged, she won't give it a thought to eat her brains. Brains, brains, it's okay. It's not a matter if it isn't gray. And in fact, her she thinks it's strange. She won't think twice if she don't have a brain. Hooray! Bring your brain. Bring your brain. Bring your brain. Not all of the villain songs that I've written that have been coupled with animation were necessarily made by an established studio. In some cases, they're just fan-animated videos. Now, something you may or may not know about me is that on a nearly weekly basis, I'll get an email from someone saying, hey, can I use your song in my school project? Or can I use your song in my indie horror movie? And I say yes to everyone. Because I think it's, you know, students shouldn't have to worry about copyright issues, you know? Like if you're doing something academic, the last thing you need to be worried about is like getting permission to use music. I just think that's stupid. And as a struggling artist and indie filmmaker myself, I understand that 99, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the new classic Velocipaster in your child. I mean, no. As an indie filmmaker myself, I understand that when you make a horror movie or a zombie movie, you know, you're spending all the money you've got and you're never going to make any of that back. So why would you need to pay me to use my music? Stupid. Just use it. Use it and have fun. So one day, several years ago, a student from a film and animation university in Israel wrote to me and said, I want to use one of your songs for my thesis project. And I told her what I tell everybody. I was like, yeah, just academic work, just do it, just have fun. Now, I never hear back from any of these people because they don't really teach follow-through in uni. They just don't. Like, you're lucky if you finish, let's be honest. And you're never, ever paying that loan back. So they just never, they don't really teach follow-through. But a year later, she writes to me and she's like, I finished that video, here it is, and I watch it and I'm like, holy shit. This might be better than Cartoon Network and Disney. It was that good. Well, that video now has something like 50 million views. It's completely viral, which really pisses me off. Because nothing I've ever done has 50 million views. I bust my ass on these stupid gothic homemaking episodes. I don't know if you watch my dumb show. I'm lucky to get a couple thousand views. So I was like, okay, well shit. So it's got 50 million views, but now here's the problem. Here's the problem. I always tell aspiring musicians, whatever you do, don't ever record a song in the studio you can't play live. Like, don't use a whole lot of voodoo and hoodoo and trickery to make yourself sound great if you can't actually play that song live, because you're just going to look like an idiot when you try to play it. So I've never done that, except on one song. The year was 1999. I know, most of you are like, the year I was born? Some of you are like, 10 years before I was born. Wait, is that mathematically? Never mind. The year was 1999, and I was in the studio and I'd written this song, and I realized at some point that it was like beyond, like the idea that I had in my mind for this song was actually beyond my capabilities. Like I just could not play the guitar part that I wrote for it. My brain was more talented than my fingers, apparently. So after a couple of days of like bleeding money in the studio and trying again and again and again, I finally said, fuck it! I hired a professional guitarist. He came in, he played the part in 10 seconds, he was paid, he left, and I was like, it's not a big deal, because I'm never ever playing this song live.
Until now.
20 years later. Believe it or not, 20 years later, this young lady makes this video, the song goes fucking viral, and there's people here tonight who didn't even know who the fuck I was until they saw Daria Cohen's animated video for my song, The Night. So now I'm in an awkward position where I feel like, you know, somewhat obligated to play this song you may very well have come to hear. But I don't play it very well at all. So I'm just gonna go on the assumption that we are all friends here. I'm gonna go on the assumption that you all understand that nobody, absolutely nobody, was born perfect. We all make mistakes. The point is not to pretend you're perfect. The point is to make mistakes, to acknowledge that you made a mistake, and then with the help of support of your community and friends, to try to do better moving forward. Is that so weird? Is that so weird? Because a lot of people think that's really weird these days. So in that spirit, I am going to play for you this song that I do not play very well at all. It's the most challenging song I ever wrote on a guitar. I'm going to do it anyway. And I don't want you leaving here tonight thinking, holy shit, man, I saw Voltaire play The Night, and it was a clusterfuck. I want you leaving here tonight saying, I was there that fateful night when Voltaire played the Glasgow limited edition version of The Night. She's the wife whom I elude, the one to whom I should be right. Though forewarned by peers and kin, I always give in to the night. Mother always warned me such being a nocturnal soul, besides just being simply strange, comes from some illness of the mind. But the night she calls me, in her velvet dress and pulls me toward her in the dark. While the others rest, while the others rest, while the others rest. Hear the call, the time has come for you children of the night. Gather around like suckling dogs, mother's country is the night. Come with me to the other side. Make that girl in black your bride. 'Cause the night she calls me, she calls me, she calls me, she calls me. She sways in her velvet dress and pulls me towards her in the dark. While the others rest, while the others rest, while the others rest. Here's the hard part. Attempting to play this song live, it used to really unnerve me when people cheered, and I totally got that they were like trying to support me, but I was like, I can't hear what I'm doing. And now I realize that when people cheer, you can't hear what I'm doing either. Still seems very strange to me that the quiet, lonely streets, draped in all that mystery, could be so sweet and comforting. The night she calls me, she calls me, she calls me, she calls me. She sways in her velvet dress and pulls me toward her in the dark. While the others rest, while the others rest, while the others rest. Not out of the woods yet. The story that I just told you before I played this song, 100,000% true. Now, as it happens, I didn't play live shows for a long time because, again, can't remember why, just wasn't allowed to leave my house for some reason. I'd probably done something horribly wrong, I can't remember. And then July of last year, shows started up for me again, and I realized that a lot of people were coming to hear the night, and I was like, fuck. So I told that story in Seattle, my very first show after the end days, and I completely fucking butchered it. And then the very next week, I played in Los Angeles, and I told that story, and I played the night, and it was like a little bit better. And then a week after that, I played in Las Vegas. And I told that story and I played the song and it was like even a little bit better than the week before. And this went on every weekend of the year, like straight up until where we are today. And I learned something, it's so weird. I learned that like if you want to get good at something, if you like do it a lot, like maybe even like once a week, you inevitably get better at it. It is such a crazy phenomenon. I've decided to give it a name. I'm going to call it rehearsal. I'm also thinking maybe practice. Practice has a nice ring. But apparently if you just do something every week, you get better and better at it. Another fucked up funny story. So like 2 weeks ago, here's the other thing that happens. I was like, I got this shit down now. And that week, wherever the fuck city I was in, I played it the worst I've ever played it in all of my life. So don't get cocky, kids. In the words of Han Solo, don't get cocky. And without further ado, a song for children.
That's better.
I didn't tell you what kind of children. I meant children in like some fucked up multiverse. I was alone and I needed a date. I was taking a walk past the cemetery gate and I saw a sign that said for a good time. Take a left down into the number 8. Went through the gateway and I'm pretty sure I saw some eyes sticking out of a sepulcher. I took a step into the tomb of a review. That's where I met her, the zombie prostitute. La da 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 da. I grabbed her left breast and I'm pretty sure I tore it. I said go down, but she didn't have the stomach for it. Her teeth fell out and her tongue fell out the booze. But all in all, she was a rotten kind of cute. Well, I was tense, it was plain to see. A sort of rigor mortis was coming over me. I didn't want to see it, but I just had to believe it. Yup, I had to stick before the stiff in front of me. La da 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 da. Well, now I'm falling apart from my head down to my toes. I don't know which of my origins is the next to go. I've been such a slave since she gave me the disease. Wouldn't you know now I'm a zombie gigolo? I took my first client on a date. We took a walk to the cemetery gate. I got under her slip, but then I heard her rip. I pulled it out and I said, "You were watching?" That is what I said. Baby, give it back.